Hey lovelies, so welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Let's talk about Ready to Love, Make a Move, Season 1, Episode 7. So as always, I'm going to be giving you guys some of the key things I picked up from this episode and let's talk about it. But before that, if you're new to this channel, I do commentary on reality TV shows. I do a little bit of news as well, celebrity news here and there. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button. On here, we like to dissect things. We like to talk about people's behavior. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap that bell for notifications so you know every single time that I post. And if you're a returning subscriber, I love you. Thank you so much. And before we continue, please make sure you hit that like button. It's a free way to support the channel. Now that all of that has been said, let's get into today's video. So the last episode ended with Cameron basically being nowhere to be found at Zadia's birthday party. So this episode now, guess who showed up? Cameron. So Cameron showed up with a gift. He gave like his speech about, oh, he knows she likes yellow. So he made sure everything he chose had a little bit of yellow in it. I'm like, okay. I like that Zadia lit up immediately that she saw him. I feel like she really, really likes him. Even in the confessionals, like, you guys need to monitor and like stare at her eyes every time she talks about him. It's like her eyes suddenly get softer and it's almost like she just has this affectionate look towards him every time she's talking about him. And I'm just like, girl, you're whooped. You are whooped, honey. Like, I don't know if it's going to work out, but you like him. So anyways, now let's talk about Vernisha. So, yes, last episode, we were talking about how Vernisha gave her number to Mizelle, right? Now, to this episode, they showed us a little bit more about that. And the part that I thought was like just weird for me, right? Is the fact that, like, first of all, Vernisha, like, I understand that it is free game and all of that. But I personally would not have given my number without at least speaking to Cherise first to let her know, this guy's trying to talk to me. I know that's your keeper. Where are you guys at with that? He's asking for my number. Should I give him? You know, is it fair game? I will still, out of courtesy, let her know beforehand before giving the number. But instead, Vern gave the number. And Mizelle was pretty much talking and texting her the whole night. So this is what makes it even worse, right? Whilst Vern was telling Ashley about Mizelle texting her and all of that, right? Cherise was over there speaking to Zadia, talking about how much she liked Mizelle. She was practically saying she's starting to like him. She was right there just falling over him. Whilst Vern was texting Mizelle. Mizelle was texting Vern the whole night. Like, that is mad. That is crazy. So anyway, Zadia and Cherise ended up joining Vern and Ashley in the kitchen, right? And Vern then told Cherise about Mizelle texting her all night. Cherise was like, he hasn't texted me since last night. So it's obvious that he saw Vern and his attention went straight to Vern. And so it was so awkward. Interestingly, Cherise sort of, tried to like play it down a little bit. But to be honest, I could tell she was upset about it. Who wouldn't be? You're over there talking about how you like a guy and how is this and how is that. And he's over there texting someone you live in the same house with. It's like the level of disrespect. I bet she's thinking like, why did I even invite him to this freaking party? But Cherise, on the bright side, he's showed you who he is now. So you know exactly who he is. And how to move, how to do what to do. How to move next, Because if he didn't show himself, you'd probably be fawning over him. And you'll probably continue to be dating him. And then he's going to end up cheating on you in the end. So, yeah. I would say you won this round. You should even be happy. You should be pleased that at least you know exactly what's going on this one. Let's talk about Mizell and how he was confronted by Charisse and he was playing down the conversation between him and Vernisha. Now, of course, he did say he didn't call anyone last night because it was too late, right? Yes, he is right. He didn't call Vernisha. He texted Vernisha. But either way, right, he started to minimize even him sort of deciding to go ahead to text Vernisha. And I'm just like, that is not right. You've already done something wrong, right? Just acknowledge it, own it. I saw Vernisha. I liked what I liked. I like you as well. I like you both. I want to see if there's something there. Or you don't even need to say you liked Vernisha. You could say, I had some conversations with Vernisha last night. We connected quite well. I don't know, if there is a connection there, but that is something I would like to explore. If that's okay with you. Something along those lines. It's not that deep. Like, as a grown man, why can't you stand in the truth of how you really feel, right? And what it is you want to do. But he wasn't. He was beating around the bush and like avoiding and making up stories. Then Tamika walks up and put him on the spot and said, we don't believe you. She checked him and then he's like, oh, thanks for letting me know. No, you're now gaslighting. You're now pretending like, oh, Tamika suddenly telling you how to behave is you learning it for the first time. You knew exactly, you're what, 50 something years old? You're grown enough to know that that's not how you behave. That is snaky behavior. That is sneaky behavior. That is, no one needs to tell you at your big grown age that that's unacceptable. I absolutely loved how Tamika put him on the spot. I felt like it needed to be done. Someone needed to put him on the spot and hold him accountable because he was just beating around the bush, avoiding it. And I felt like, nah, you shouldn't be able to get away with that. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm glad that he was forced to acknowledge his wrongs, even though I'm sure he knew he was doing what he was doing. But I'm glad Tamika held his foot to the fire, or feet to the fire. So let's talk about Cameron and Zadia. I personally think at this point, Cameron and Zadia can just leave us off the show and go and walk off into the sunset. I love seeing them together. I know they keep talking about this making time, but I don't understand because isn't he making time to come on the show? Unless he's been missing filming times and stuff like that, and they're not showing us. The only time that he was late was her birthday, which in my opinion might have been even something doctored by production. Who knows? So I'm just a little bit like, I don't know about that. But yeah, she definitely likes him. She really likes him. Now let's talk about Kirsten and Ashley. This is the one that really bothers me. Ashley, you guys know I get in on Ashley's ass all the time. And the reason I get in on her is because I feel like she does not know her value and her worth. Because if you knew your worth and your value, you would not have allowed Kirsten to continue to play in your face. From day one, it was clear he wasn't really into you, right? And then you move on to you having Stormy in front of him and he's flirting with Stormy. Yet you had an issue with Stormy, but you did not have an issue with him, right? And then you invite him somewhere, he doesn't show up. Let's not forget the fact that you were even saying that there was some sort of what you explain as chemistry. I'm looking at it was given combative and you guys not being compatible. And I'm just like, it's crazy that she still keeps tolerating and keeping this man around. And every time it's like, oh, he's so attractive. He's so good looking. He's so this. Girl, is that what you're going to eat? Is that what you're going to eat, sis? So let's talk about their conversation. So he didn't even bring it up that he didn't show up to the event. She had to bring it up. And when she brought it up, he didn't even say, oh, well, he didn't even say none of that. She had to bring it up herself. Then she asked him, were you busy? He said no. He didn't even explain why he didn't show up. What sort of behavior is that? Someone invites you somewhere, you're not showing up, and you don't say anything. You don't let them know. On the next day, you see them and you're like trying to find out, how was your day? How do you think my day was? Like, why do people behave in that manner? And so, yeah, it was just, to be honest, the only person I have to blame here is Ashley for continuously putting up with this man that clearly was not into her from day one. We could all see it. She was the only one that could not, because she was blinded by him. And I don't understand. So then he starts saying, he's sorry, he is going to do better. I'm like, we don't believe you. Even it sounded rehearsed, like, okay, let me say this so she can keep me on. Not really like being honest at all. So she basically told him she's going in a different direction. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And then drank whatever he was drinking and then left. And then was walking out. And she was like, oh, you're not even going to fight. I'm like, girl, how many times do you want this man to tell you he does not like you? How many times? Don't ever let a man tell you more than once he doesn't like you. In this case, don't let him show you more than once. He showed you so many times, Ashley. Ashley, you need therapy. Because the truth is, why do you continuously want to date men that do not like you? Men that are unavailable? Why? Like, that is a problem. Why do you continue to do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I personally feel like she has a lot of work to do, because you can't continuously date people who do not like you, but then you be asking them for affirmations. You want them to be head over heels, basically. It just doesn't make any sense. Let's talk about Vern and Tabari. So I like that Vern gave Tabari honest feedback. She basically said to him that she likes him, but she feels like he gets a bit too playful and stuff. She doesn't want to be dating the class clown, basically. That's not how she put it. I think she actually put it really, really well. I feel like Tabari needs to show her the person he showed her on date one. Instead of, the whole extra-ness, doing the absolute most thing that he's currently doing. I feel like, yes, I understand not wanting to date someone who is the butt of everyone's jokes. Like, I wouldn't want to date someone like that. Like, you can be goofy, we can be funny, but when we're out, let's keep it together, honey. Like, we don't have to be joking. Like, there has to be some limits, So I totally understand that. I also love that in his confessionals, you can see that he received the feedback and was saying that, he feels like for the next date, they should do something romantic. That I completely agree with. I think that might help to like bring them together. Moving on to Vern and Ashley. They went on a double date. It was like a dancing date. And the guys were competing. And that really irritated me. The way like one person would be like, oh yeah, I can't swim. The other would be like, well, I was swimming on a volcano. Like, they were just competing for everything. How can you not swim? You were in the army. But I can't swim. But I can do this. But I can do this. But why can't... Like, it was so funny. It was so childish. It's like they're fighting for who has the biggest D. Like, it was so uncomfortable to watch. I was like, yeah, now. I have no business dating any of you. Now, there was something Vern said that I didn't like. One of the guys was 31 years old. And Vern kept referring to him as a baby. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's nice. I think that it's not right for you to be referring to someone as a baby. You might think they're too young for you, but there's no reason for you to be like, oh my God, you're such a baby. He's a grown-ass man. He grown. You don't refer to a 31-year-old as a baby. Come on. It's rude. There's no reason for that. Over on the other side, Zadia and Charisse went on a double date. We all know Zadia is not going on these dates. She just wants to be with Cameron. And that's why I'm like, just leave her to be with her man. But anyway, Zadia and Charisse went on a pottery class. Interesting. I've always wanted to do pottery. But when I was watching, I'm like, oh, it can get really, really messy and also quite intense. So I'm not really sure about that. But one of the pottery classes was very, very suggestive. It was like, too much for me. I was like, girl, why does it look like you're giving hand jobs? Like, no, that's too much for me. Charisse definitely seemed to be having a good conversation with her date, but then her date has a young child, so I don't know how that's going to work with Charisse, considering Charisse is constantly saying she doesn't want someone who has kids. So I don't know how that young children dynamic will work. At this point, Charisse needs to call Maurice. Maurice. They're probably going to be quiet on the phone and say absolutely nothing. Hi, Maurice. Hi, Charisse. That is it. Oh, God. Nah. There is nothing there, girl. Like, just move on. And so finally, let's talk about Donald and Ashley. Now, Donald cooked for Ashley. Ashley was kind of like, oh, okay, the food tastes good or whatnot. They started playing card games. Turns out, Donald used to be married and he never told Ashley. So initially, my thoughts were like, okay, he's telling you now, blah, blah, blah. But when I thought about it, I was like, wait, you guys have gone on 2 dates or 3 dates. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Why wasn't it mentioned at any point during those dates? And so that then made me start to think, if that wasn't mentioned, then what else are you hiding? Right? And then also, if I was in that situation and I'm dating someone and I've been on 3 dates with them and they fail to tell me they used to be married, I would not like that. Because I like to know what your past is, right? So that, okay, for instance, you've been married before. How long were you married for? Is the divorce actually final? Because some people say they've been married before, but they're still technically legally married. They haven't gone through the divorce process completely. I need to know these things. So if we're going on 3rd dates or we've done 3rd dates or 4th dates, I need to know all of these things, especially if we're also talking every single day. What are we talking about? Why haven't you mentioned it? I would have an issue with that. And so I completely understand if Ashley would or has an issue with that as well. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think Vern should have given her number to Mizell? Also, do you think that Ashley has the right to be upset that Donald did not tell her that he was married before? Let me know in the comment section below, guys. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications so you know every single time I post. Hit that like button and let's continue the conversation in the chat. See you guys later. Bye.